Hi, I'm Carrie Blazer, the Divine Feminine, reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. Thank you for clicking on my clip. But I want to let you know that I have a free ebook linked below, my 6 Divine Feminine Self-Love Strategies. They will help you transform your emotional wounds into personal wisdom. And I take a multidisciplinary approach. I include the laws of physics, psychology, neuroscience, shamanism, mysticism. I went wild, okay? So men can understand and women can understand. There's something there for everyone because what I learned is when something's true, it's true in multiple places. All right, please like and subscribe and help me distribute my ebook to everyone for free by exploding my channel. Take care. Enjoy the clip. Bye. So the first time I experienced enlightenment, I was sitting in my chair for 3 days and I barely ate, slept, or drank anything. I'm like, zzz, like vibrating so high. The second I started on a Tuesday, the next morning, I remember hearing enlightenment, 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 like an alarm in my head. I reached that level. Like it's kind of see like in a game, you reach a level, like that's where I was, right? And so I received profound wisdom, and then I faced catastrophic fears. So with enlightenment being the highest vibrating energy, it's the most transformative. So when human beings don't have access to their full emotional range, then it's hard to develop into healthy, mature, emotional adults. So, but I had to accept that how did I get from all that fear, guilt, and shame up into enlightenment? And this is where laws of physics explain too. There's a 2-ball experiment where you put one ball on like a slightly downhill track, another ball on a track with hills and valleys. Which ball reaches the finish line first? Balls are identical, length is identical, but it's technically longer with the hills and valleys. Which one reaches the finish line first? Well, I'm going to tell you it's the hills and valleys. Why? Because the ball gains kinetic energy on the way down. There's a surrender into this, we have to explore our depths before we to catapult us to our heights. And our depths, we gain a lot of kinetic energy, a lot of propulsion and momentum, and then we hit the bottom, turn that wound into wisdom, and the wisdom catapults us up to our next mountaintop. So surrender is the feminine and the climb is the masculine. My problem was I was down in fear, guilt, and shame for most of my life until the past about 5 years, and I didn't know how to get out. My parents didn't know how to get out. They never taught me. My mom was an alcoholic. My dad was a workaholic. I was, projected on a lot of shame, guilt, and fear by my parents because that's what was in their hearts. So that came out of their hearts onto me. We live in a holographic universe. Like I said here, the universe is a mirror showing us ourselves in every moment as a constant feedback loop, but they didn't understand that. They lacked awareness. So what happened? They thought that because I trigger them, I'm wrong, which is a very, oh, I gotta grab it. Which is a very codependent way of thinking. If the universe is a mirror, how can I be responsible for anybody else's emotions? And when I do take responsibility for other people's emotions, how well does that turn out for me? Well, that's very codependent. Well, I'll ask you, when you're codependent, when you take responsibility for other people's emotions, is that your downfall or your rise? I'll let you answer that. So this physics experiment here, I'll play it in a second. It shows how this functions, how the universe is a mirror. So when part of our soul resonates at like 40 hertz of shame, and we perceive shame outside of ourselves, that is our soul showing us our own shame, not the other person's shame necessarily. It is self-reflection. When our soul shows us beauty outside of ourselves, that is our soul showing us our own beauty. How, I remember one time I kept telling the shaman, you're so bright, you're so bright. But my soul was showing me my own brightness. And I took me, I had to reflect, oh, wait, I'm bright too, because I noticed it in her.